we are being naive right now. Okay, Mina, and Dan, I understand exactly what you guys are saying. But how many times in our league circles and talking to people, the integrity of the game is first and foremost. We understand, and Mina, you are exactly right. We have these conversations amongst ourselves on television about acts compared to other acts. The fact is, and I hate to tell America this, but they need to know the truth. The NFL does not look at those situations like they look at this. All right. This is the type of thing that has the potential to impact the actual game. And when fans start to think that, y'all know we hear this, games are fixed. They want these people in the Super Bowl. And I always break that misnomer, because if the NFL was fixed, the Cowboys would be in the Super Bowl every 3 years because it's good for everybody in the league. But here's the thing, y'all, and y'all know this as well as I. The $1,500, irrelevant. The fact that Calvin Ridley bet and it was like a fly-by-night thing, irrelevant. The relevancy of this suspension and why it's so severe is because that NFL shield, first and foremost, cannot be looked at as something as kinks in the armor from within. And that is the issue. I get it. I understand what y'all saying. I think the impact of the severity of the suspension is a little over the top. But we all know, sitting here on this show, how the NFL looks internally at things that happen like this.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right about the NFL's perspective, but I'll say this. I imagine there's a lot of players around the league and agents looking at the fact that an NFL owner, Stephen Ross, was recently accused by Brian Flores of asking him, potentially paying him to lose games, or offering to, rather. And he denies that, and I want to be clear, we don't know where that stands, but I imagine their sentiment is, are you looking into that as seriously as you looked into this? Because that is, if we're talking about what the NFL cares about here and the sanctity of the game, one would imagine that should register at the same level, if not more.
Yeah, and Marcus, you know me, like I'm
100%.
I'm an old soul at heart. Like I believe in doing things the old school way in many aspects of it. So I'm not sitting here saying that Calvin Ridley should not receive punishment for his choices and his actions. He has to, because again, we are all very clearly told on an annual basis, consistently, when it comes to gambling, you cannot. There is not this is what you can do. It's like you cannot. But to do, I do believe, in my opinion, it is very different to say he gambled on the team that he was with to win rather than he bet them to lose, because that's when fixing games comes into play for me. If you're betting on the Falcons to lose in those situations, that's when I start to think, does he know something about the team that nobody else knew? Is he part of meetings or of somebody injured that no one else knows about? When he's betting on them to win, I just think he's, again, having idle time and bored and made a careless and dumb mistake in the moment. Yeah. That's why I think he's going to get reinstated, big fella. Like, that's why I think he still has a future.
You nor Mina are getting an argument with me about the severity of the punishment. I'm just trying to explain of why. I'm trying to tell our viewers and our audience of why this has such a severe impact. I agree. I agree, but I understand why, and we all know. And to Mina's point about Stephen Ross and that investigation, as far as that goes, I think he should have to sell a team if it comes out to be true.
Right.
Like, that is how serious from within we know the NFL operates when it comes to the integrity of the game. We hear it 1,000 times. Y'all, let's bring America in. Don't we do a meeting before every season with NFL officials about things that are going on and changing in this league?
Yeah.
Gambling is always in there.
Yeah.
Every year they talk about gambling. Every single year. So I'm just trying to give people a peek at why this is kind of transpiring like this, but I don't agree with you and Mina. I don't argue with you. There should have been way more severe punishments for things that transpired beyond gambling with Calvin Ridley, and we all know what those circumstances should have led to. Players being out of the league, not ever having a chance to play. But ultimately, We all know, us four sitting on this TV right now, why the NFL looks at this worse than they look at other situations.
Well, my thought is the NFL is looking at it. Yeah, my thought is the NFL is looking at it because, and Schefter mentioned this a couple times before, in the last 24 to 36 months, it has become much more in partnership with the gambling companies. And this is really the first time that we've had certainly an active player be attached to it. This is the, we are going to make an example of you to make sure that you are aware that the hammer will come cracked down if you participate in it. That's where I can understand it.
Calvin Ridley just tweeted again. Adam outlined all the tweets that have come down even since 4 p.m. and this news coming out. He said, I know I was wrong, but I'm given 1 year. LOL. So obviously he thinks that the punishment is very severe as well. And guys, I would just say this, I think a lot of things can be true at once, right? These are human beings and people make mistakes. And as we've all said, we're not exonerating any of the mistakes that Calvin Ridley made here, but the details are important. Sports betting has become so prevalent. It is advertised everywhere. It's a big part of the future of sports, the now of sports, right? And yet players still can't do it, as we know, but there are so many more severe punishments that probably should be handed down for other things that are very different. It's just we got to go, but go quick.
It's just the ideology of the same thing with trading, like insider trading.
Right.
Like it's the ideology of the same thing. The perception is Calvin really has more information to make a bet than the normal Joe walking around. And that's why they look at it like that when you are within an organization and you betting on an outcome.
The context. Go ahead.
In this case, he clearly doesn't have that info, but sorry.
Yeah, right. And the context here of his own mental health being a big piece of this, that's why he had stepped away from the game, and now he'll sit for at least another year.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.